Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Earlier today I had the chance to see Grant Cardone in San Francisco and kind of wanted to, give my honest review of how I felt about the event. For those of you who don't know who he is, Grant Cardone is a pretty inspiring dude. He lost his dad at 10 years old, became a drug addict at 26, and I'm not sure really what the timeline of all this was, but he essentially did make a lot of money at one point in his life. I mean, now he does, but he did lose it all during the market crash in 2011. The #1 sales trainer. He's personally, to be me, known for kind of his 10x slogan. I think I'm doing it right, 10x. Kind of saying that whatever you are putting out. So just a quick disclaimer here, I haven't read his 10x book or followed Grant for a very long time, so I don't know what his 10x rule really is. If you do know, feel free to let me know in the comments below. There you can 10x it. So if you're making $1,000 this year, you can 10x that to $10,000. If you are making $10,000, 10 sales, you can 10x that. So that's kind of like what I think about when I think of his name and what he stands for. So anyway, when I did see this event, I thought it would be really cool to register, especially #1, it was free. So I already knew I probably wouldn't get the whole bang, right? And I knew he had this 10x conference that he usually does he hosts in Vegas, which hosts like so many people. He brings in like Kevin Hart. He's gonna have Usher there. So I thought he was really gonna sell us on this event. So I came in just thinking like maybe he's gonna sell me on this event. I'm gonna get a glimpse of the energy that he brings to the crowd, and I'm gonna be sold, and I'm gonna wanna go to his 10x in Vegas. Yeah, so anyway, I found out about this event through, I'm pretty sure I was targeted through some of my social media channels. And when I saw that he had a good following on Instagram, I was pretty sold to attend this event. I saw Damon John a couple months ago at an event, and he was spectacular. I loved it, and it really was motivating for me. So I'm thinking, 2020, I want to hit it off right. I want to go see Grant. I want to, just like, I'm sure I'll get something out of it. Attending the event, I definitely did take away a lot of things, but there were a lot of things that I personally did not feel like it was relatable. I don't think I fit his target audience. So I really don't know how I was targeted with all those ads, because I don't think he's targeting millennials. What he was speaking to was really for like experienced real estate investors, or somebody who's older, who's been making money for years, and is looking for ways to grow their money, use their money. And if you looked in the crowd too, you'll see most of the people in the crowd were pretty old. They had kids, they brought their kids. I'd say maybe 30% were around my age. I'm 26. So that's one thing. And I felt like the ones who were younger kind of felt like me, where they didn't really relate. Maybe because we're like more new to real estate. We were expecting something probably more motivating, more like, you can do this. And just like, for example, one of the pitches that he was doing was really towards purchasing like a multi-unit home. And I'm not talking just like a multi-family home unit. I'm saying his pitch was to buy a 16-unit property. Like, how in the world am I going to do that? That is like more than 10xing what I am currently capable of doing. That is probably like 100x. But either way, that was kind of cool, because it kind of set like a really high goal, and I never really thought about like, oh, maybe I can own an like apartment in the future. But through that alone, it was kind of inspiring. Like, you know what, I can do that one day, but not right now. So, I mean, with that, it kind of like trickles down to like point number 2, right? For who he is, you know, growing up the way he did without a father, becoming a drug addict, I thought I was going to hear at least a little bit more about his personal story, a little bit more about him, learning more from his side, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a whole story, but I would have loved to get that personal relationship with him, you know, what really motivated him, stuff like that. I felt like he was unprepared and unorganized. So I when I was kind of scrolling through his Instagram before I decided to register for the event, I saw some like comments that I thought were so funny. Like, Grant, being a millionaire, you would think you can afford for somebody to, you know, put a deck together for you. And I thought that was funny because he was using those poster boards where you just write on them and then you flip and then you throw them away. So I didn't think he was gonna keep going with that route, but I guess he did. That's like part of his brand, I guess. But it was a little cringe, honestly, to just have him like scribbling like his thoughts on this paper. And on top of that, the reason why I'm calling it out as like unorganized or like unprepared is because he would like ask the audience like, okay, I bought this property for $1.2 million. What's the math? And I was just like, why are we doing math on stage right now? I just want it like clear. And I mean, I'm not like a real estate guru or like I don't know a lot about real estate, but I watch a lot of real estate videos, and I watch like Meet Kevin, and he's always so organized when he's talking about the deals. He knows his math. He already has all that. So I think I was already, because I've been spoiled with what Kevin offers on his YouTube channel, like really going in depth about like his profits and stuff like that. I just thought, coming from Grant, that was odd that he would not know the math or come prepared with all the math ready for him already. Like, that could just already be planted in a PowerPoint and shared with the audience about how much money he is making from certain properties, or how much money you could make from a property, like in that scale. And 4, it was a very, very, very salesy event. Super salesy. And it's so ironic to me why it's so salesy, because like, he's the #1 sales guy or whatever, right? He's a sales trainer. He consults for larger companies on like, and like, I read a little bit about him where his first business idea was just kind of like consulting to the automobile industry. I'm not sure what strides he made there, but it's just so ironic to me that you're a sales guy and you should know how to not come off as a salesy guy, right? Because those are annoying. But yeah, like, when we first entered and he came on stage, he was like, hey everybody, I have my 10X Growth Con is sold out, but I have 10 left right here, and if whoever wants them, go get them in the back. And he handed it off to one of his employees who walked to the back, and then a herd of people just like ran to the back to like try to get the tickets. And honestly, half of them were confused. They thought like, you know, it was free, or like they would be entered into a raffle or something like that. But no, it was like to sign up to like pay for the tickets. And what's so unorganized about that part, this isn't on Grant's part, it's like just the event, is like while he's trying to sell things, it's just like people going to the back. So people would go to the back of the venue to purchase the stuff, and it would be like a lot of talking while Grant is still on stage, like going about whatever stuff he was saying. And then people in the back, like me, couldn't hear Grant because there's people behind me trying to buy stuff or getting sold stuff, and like talking and asking questions, and like their name was getting yelled at. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it was just a mess. And yeah, so after that little thing, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and then he goes into his real estate investing course, and that's when he's like, all right guys, how much do you think my real estate course is? And everybody's like throwing out numbers, and then he's like, it's $1,000 and you can get that today. If you're interested, go into the back. And then of course, again, a bunch of people started getting up, going to the back, and I felt like that was kind of the point where a lot of people were like, okay, I'm getting sold a lot. Like, this is, like, I can't hear. A lot of people started leaving. I started to leave. I was just like, I just realized I don't really relate to Grant as much as I thought I would. So, like, I left, and it's because at this point, I couldn't hear. I wasn't motivated nor persuaded by Grant. I think it's because I haven't followed him before. I think it was somebody who was like already following Grant, right? And they already knew everything that he was about and all that stuff. Like, they're at this event, it's a free event, they're gonna be like, you know what, I'm going to, you know, invest in Grant today. I have $1,000 and I want to invest in his class. I've been thinking about it for ages, and today is a good day for me to invest. And I think that was Grant's like kind of like goal. He just really wanted to, obviously with a free event, he's trying to make some money somehow, right? These events aren't cheap to host. They probably cost up to like 40, 50K for him to just, you know, have that spot and everything. So I get it. I get the salesy aspect. It was just kind of annoying. But again, it kind of goes back to the number one, where I felt like I wasn't his target audience. Like, I wasn't somebody who followed him a lot. I didn't really know about him. And the whole time I was just thinking like, I really should invest in the courses of those YouTubers that I watch all the time, because I trust them and I like them. I like the way that they explain real estate to me. And so I think that's one thing I got out of Grant is that I realized I do want to, you know, invest in myself and learn more about real estate, just probably not from Grant. But what I saw in Grant is that the people that I watch, I see them becoming the future Grant when they're like 50 or whatever. So the people that I watch are more millennial targeted. They're Kevin and Graham Stephan. And they're like 26, 27. So they're building an empire alone too. So I want to be with them. I want to like run with them. I want to be with them. In a nutshell, I think Grant Cardone's sell was a bit much for me. It was kind of out of my reach, which I appreciate at the same time. Like I said, it really brings in like larger goals that you don't think about. You know, my goals are more like, okay, like what kind of properties can I buy that I'm comfortable with the amount of money that I have. Obviously long term, when you want to buy more properties and stuff like that, it gets a little bit more clouded, right? Or a little bit more trickier, because you want to like maybe use other people's money to help fund a project that you're really interested in, but you don't have the capital for it, like blah 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 blah, boring talk. Those are kind of just like my little complaints. But it's a free event, so I think if you're somebody who's like really new to real estate, you haven't been to a conference with a motivational speaker in a while or anything like that, these events are crucial to kind of like set you on track. It kind of gets you motivated. You could meet people. You're surrounded by this energy of like people who are kind of in the same boat as you. Some might be already ahead of you in some way, but that's kind of the cool thing about these events. So definitely encourage you to kind of go out there and see what's out there, whether it's real estate or like investing in stocks. Or lastly, if you're going to attend one of these free events, do know that they're probably going to sell you on something, and be prepared to not be swindled to buy something just because someone is trying to pitch it to you. Make sure you do your research, okay? And number two, if you're going to just buy a program, make sure that you are ready to commit to something. If you're going to buy $1,000 program, you better be ready to commit to learning everything that program is offering, and making sure that, you know, you make it worth it, and that you are dedicated to learning So that's my spiel. I did not buy a program. I'm sorry, Grant. But I will probably see Grant in the near future again at his 10X conference. Maybe next year, because this year is sold out. But next year, I will keep my eye out. All right. And I think that's all. That's my review